The next point is that, as it goes without saying, that if God created the physical universe, so he's not physical, and so he has no body. What I mean by a body is that, if I want to draw something, I need to draw lines, however large the inside the lines is going to be, but the lines describe the body. That the beyond the lines is not the body. So you're in this space and not in that space. Space doesn't govern God. God is beyond space. So he's not a physical being. He has no body at all. He he's really, a mind. Not a gas, because a gas, eventually you'll get the outer edges of the gas. Where is it? It's in this place and not in that place. No such thing by God. There's no place he's not. What this is important to realize for us is that, from one side, if you want to look at yourself as a sinner, there's nowhere to hide. You can't get away from God. So don't even try. But the other thing is, you're never out of his sight. You're never out of his mind. He's constantly on you, which follows from the fact that he's constantly creating you. And he's there to help. He has all the power in the world. There's no limit to his power because there's no body. There's no limits. So he has all the power to help, even if it seems that it's impossible to get the help. There's a story in the Torah where Moses once thought that there's no way that God's going to be able to achieve this, and the next few lines show how he did, in a totally unexpected way. Nobody had the expectation, but it fit in. It was just like a new situation, but it fit in, so it seemed normal. I better tell you the story. It's in the book of Numbers, chapter 11. It's ironic that it's chapter 11 because in America, chapter 11 suggests bankruptcy. And in this chapter, the Jewish people go a little bankrupt in terms of their relationship with the Almighty. In verse 4 of the chapter, they complain, the original, where's the beef complaint? They want to eat meat. In verse 6 explains they already had food. It was the miraculous manna that was falling from heaven every day. They should have been very happy with that. In verse 13, Moshe complains to God, where am I going to get the meat? In verse 18 through 20, God says, don't worry, I'm going to bring them lots and lots of meat, so much it'll be coming out of their nostrils. In verse 21 and 22, Moses complains. He says, what are you talking about? How can you get them so much meat? If you would take all the sheep and cattle or all the fish in the sea, it wouldn't be enough for them. In verse 23, God says, surprisingly, you doubt me? Moshe, you were the agent of all the miracles. You doubt that I can do this? And in verse 31, God brings migration, a very, very heavy migration of birds. They're coming through and they provide so much meat. People go out and catch them and make piles and piles and piles. And they have way more meat that they can use. That's the story. The question on the story is, how could Moshe question God's ability to bring about the meat? He'd seen so many miracles. Brought them about. So how could he have a question in his mind? And so I think the answer is that what Moshe was conveying to the Almighty is that people are tired of miracles. People want to earn their own living. They don't like to get gifts. They want to be on their own. And here the manna was falling on the ground all around them, and they just had to pick it up and eat it. So it didn't satisfy their need to earn their living. And so if God would provide all the sheep and cattle or whatever, all the fish in the sea would suddenly appear, it would be another miracle. It would be the same problem. And that's what God said. You think I can provide a miracle that doesn't look like a miracle? So he brought a migration of birds that, okay, not normal, but you heard of migration of birds, so this was a heavy migration fit into normalcy. And that's what God does for us all the time. He remains invisible, but his power is unlimited, so he can always arrange for something to come around and take care of the problem. And we never see it. But we have to remember that the power is there and there's no limit to it.